Welcome back to the Angry Man Podcast with Jason and Greg. So, a topic that I wanted to address quickly, hadn't had the opportunity to talk about it, but it is Jaron Boots Ennis and his fight that's coming up, his mandatory against Karan. Let me see if I can say his last name correctly. Chukazian, I believe that's how you say it. So we know that Boots is not necessarily interested in making this fight. There's been talks of him moving up to 154 pounds. To face some of the fighters up there. But apparently they had a recent purse bid and P2M Box Promotion won the actual purse bid. P2M is the promoter of Karan, and they outbid Matchroom by $250,000 in order to gain the rights to the fight. So let's talk about this for a second. I'm just going to put it out there. At the end of the day, we can already tell that Eddie Hearn is failing Jaron Boots Ennis. He is. We know the reason why Boots signed with Eddie Hearn. It was because it was his belief that he would get more opportunities to be active. And I know a lot of people like to blame this on PBC, but Jaron Ennis was never signed to PBC. He was signed to Cameron Duncan. Now, I will say his acclaim came from his association with PBC, but certainly he was not signed to PBC. And I understand it. We all understand that PBC is currently going through a transitional period, if you will, transitioning from Showtime to Amazon, probably looking for an additional distribution partner. So they don't have as many dates available. We understand that. And so I can, to a certain extent, understand why he was signed with Eddie. Eddie is a smooth talker and probably promised him the world. Now, we have Eddie Hearn, who had an opponent in front of Jaron Ennis that he could have made the fight with, and that was Brian Norman. And I know a lot of people feel that Brian Norman is outbidding himself, asking for way too much money, and I can understand that. However, you just signed a prize fighter, Jaron Boots Ennis, who is positioned to be a superstar in the sport. If you have to take an L on a fight to get him a big fight, to continue to promote him, maybe you should do that, at least in the interim. Now, people are so willing to accept the fact that Turkey Al-Sheikh takes L's. Why couldn't he take a small L for Jaron Ennis? But let's say I understand that the economic support in the fight, they simply weren't there. And so you're not going to pay Brian Norman $2.5 million for this fight. Okay, fine. Then you allow yourself to be outbid by Karan's promoter? His job, essentially, is to help Jaron Ennis become a superstar, to promote his fights. That's his job. That's what he signed him for. In the second fight of their affiliation already, you are allowing someone else to outbid you. How is that possible? You are doing Jaron Ennis a disservice. Period. And I'm not placing any blame on Boots. Boots did what he thought was in his best interest at the time, which was to sign with Matchroom Promotions. I understand it. Boots wants to be active. I understand that. I understand in his situation prior to signing with Matchroom Promotions that the fights that he really wanted, Errol Spence, Terrence Crawford, never were available to him. I can dig all of it. I understand everything that Jaron Ennis is thinking, and the reason why, well, I can't say that I understand everything because I don't know everything he's thinking, but I can understand the rationale for why he would want to go to Matchroom that is promising him the opportunity to be active. But still, this is a failure. This is a failure on Eddie Hearn's part. I mean, didn't he have who was it? God, I cannot remember who it was. For some reason, Devin's popping into my mind for some reason that he wasn't interested in bidding on Devin's fight. And I know that Top Rank won the bid, but yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Devin. Now, supposedly he has an affiliation with Devin, right? They have a partnership. Devin is not signed, but they have a partnership. To some extent, they work together a lot. He was unwilling to bid on him. Now you got a guy that's actually signed to you, and you're unwilling to bid on him. Well, if you're unwilling to bid on these fights, and figure out some way to promote these fights and make these showcase fights for Jaron Ennis, then how is it possible that you're going to help Jaron Ennis become a star? Now, I'm a huge proponent of this. I said this on multiple occasions, that it's not up to just the promoter in order to make a fighter a superstar. Fighter got to help make himself a superstar, right? A fighter helps himself become a superstar by engaging, talking, making himself accessible, making himself and his personality accessible for people to see who he is, and what flaws he may have. That's what made people great. Honestly, that's what made people intriguing. Understanding who they are as fighters, or people in general. They're what makes them great, what makes them flawed. That's why you guys should always sign in or check out our live streams, because you get the opportunity to see Jason and I, and you get a little glimpse into who we are as people. But those are the things that really will make a fighter engaging, make people want to understand who that fighter is, make people want to see that fighter. So on that part, Jaron Ennis has got to step up and make himself a star. But as far as promoting the actual event, that is the job of Eddie Hearn. Period. End of story. So Eddie, specifically, when you consider the fact that he just signed Jaron Ennis, should have made sure he won that damn bid, even if he came in, let's say, a little bit unfavorable in regards to the economics associated with the fight, or if he just broke even. Either one of those situations would have been fine, but it is unacceptable for him not to at least win that bid, because you just signed this fighter, and I'm pretty sure you probably promised him the moon and the stars. So at the end of the day, I'm hoping, honestly, that the reason why he didn't even try to win the bid, which maybe this isn't even a valid reason for trying not to win the bid, but it's that Jaron Ennis is going to move up to 154 pounds. He's interested in facing whoever is up there, whoever he gets the opportunity to face at that division. And if that's the case, then great, because quite frankly, I'm not interested in seeing Karan again. Shout out to him for working himself back into a position to get the opportunity to face Jaron Ennis again. But quite frankly, I don't want to see that fight again. That's a worthless fight, I think, for all involved outside of Karan and his promoter. It's just that simple. We want to see Boots Ennis in there, 27, almost 28, I believe. We want to see him in there with the best available opponents. I think that's what Boots wants. I think that's the reason why he signed with Matchroom Promotions. And Eddie Hearn has to get off his ass and do his job. You guys tell me what you think in the comment section. Don't forget to hate, like, comment, and subscribe. This is the Angry Man Podcast, AM Sports Media, and I am out.